think about what is causing this lingering inflation in the economy, and the biggest one is rent. We did see rent prices still go up 0.4% in May from the month before. That's been an area where economists have been hoping we'd start to see some cooling, but it does continue to kind of defy expectations. And then, of course, some of the services you pay for, so things like medical care.
ABC's Elizabeth Schulze. The inflation report comes ahead of a big announcement today by the Federal Reserve on interest rates. Using big data to relieve patients of medical bills. That's how Milwaukee County Board Supervisor Sean Rowland is working to reduce medical debt in Milwaukee. Charity care programs already exist at many hospitals, but in many cases, over 50% of people with medical debt aren't receiving help because the programs can be difficult to apply for. Rowland enlisted the help of nonprofit RIP Medical Debt, now called Undo Medical Debt, to start automatically enrolling qualifying patients.
What's cool about it is that these folks don't have to fill out a form. They don't have to chase down a W-2 or a tax form. The credit report tells the story, and as a result, they don't have to apply. They don't even get a bill. They just don't accrue medical debt.
He tells Spanning the state policies that local health systems will forgive hospital expenses for patients below 250 to 300% of the federal poverty level. Milwaukee Public Schools submits the corrective action plan to the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction. The updated draft provides details around what MPS will do to address overdue financial data submissions and compliance issues. Submitting this plan means MPS is getting closer to receiving the delayed general and special aid payments for the district. Board of School Directors also giving the public another opportunity to comment on the 2024-25 budget. Public commentary and the vote on the budget will happen at the meeting tomorrow. On to the future of MPS. Mayors running school districts has worked in other cities. Could it work here?
Mayor of Cleveland, Ohio's been in charge of schools there since 1997. Aaron Churchill works for the Fordham Institute.
It's probably in better shape than it's been in for several decades.
In the Cleveland district, finances have stabilized and test scores have risen as one person leads.
It does put singular person in charge.
Churchill believes it could work here, but change wouldn't happen overnight.
So we need to set some expectations around sort of what it can and cannot do.
Milwaukee Mayor Cavalier Johnson says he's not interested in mayoral control. John Merkier, WTMJ News.
President Biden says he accepts the outcome of his son Hunter Biden's conviction on gun charges. He could be seen embracing Hunter when he met him on the tarmac at the Delaware Air National Guard yesterday. Hunter Biden had legally bought and possessed a gun while addicted to drugs in 2018. ABC News chief legal analyst Dan Abrams says it helps poke holes in complaints from some sides that the Department of Justice is focusing on prosecuting Republicans and conservatives. He says, in fact, there are many Democrats facing legal trouble as well.
Bob Menendez, senator, is currently on trial. Eric Adams is under investigation. Cori Bush is under investigation. I mean, the list goes on and on of the Democrats who've either been charged by this DOJ, former Democrat T.J. Cox in California, or the ones who are currently under investigation. It does become a tougher and tougher argument to make that, oh, this DOJ is only going after Republicans.
The Republican-led House expected to vote today to hold Attorney General Merrick Garland in contempt of Congress. This comes after the Justice Department refused to turn over audio recordings of President Biden's interview with the special counsel investigating his handling of classified documents. The White House blocked the release of the audio by invoking executive privilege. Time for news about your money and the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is up 178 points. The Nasdaq is up 311. The S&P 500 is up 62. Inflation isn't going away. Download your copy of Safeguarding Against Inflation Strategies for Wealth Preservation at annexwealth.com/inflation. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Citing Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 10:05.
From big tailgate parties to cozy dinners for two, the freshest ideas start with a stop at Century Foods.
Now through Wednesday, save on 6-pack, 0.5-liter or mini can selected varieties Coke products, 4 for $17. 7 to 16-ounce selected varieties Barilla pasta, 2 for $3. 5.5 to 8-ounce selected varieties Crystal Farms shredded or chunk cheese, 2 for $5. Gallon selected varieties Prairie Farms white milk, $3.99. Half-gallon Prairie Farms chocolate milk, $2.49.
Hey, why'd you throw my glass across the room?
I have to keep practicing.
The vase from Aunt Sophie?
I'm warming up in case I get to take them out at American Family Field. Read this.
Win the ultimate baseball fan experience at Century Foods?
You either get to throw out the first pitch, hold the finish line for the famous racing sausages, or be on the field during batting practice. My new TV!
Just doing a little batting practice of my own.
The ultimate baseball fan experience. Return the entry form found in the weekly ad to any Century by July 24th.
When traveling at 20 miles per hour, the average stopping distance is about 40 feet.
That stopping power is calculated in both thinking and braking distance.
And assuming you've got the thinking and braking part down, the only thing left is good tires.
Just Google Richlands to schedule an appointment at any of our 5 convenient locations.
And rest assured, we'll put you in the right tire no matter what sort of vehicle you drive.
Plus, every tire purchase that we install automatically comes with our free flat tire protection plan.
5 conveniently located facilities, all AAA approved.
And all staffed by ASE certified technicians ready to install your tires.
So Google Richlands
or go to richlands.com.
And remember to be safe, buckle up, and hey, always make sure you have good tread on your tires. I'm Brett Matchke with Richlands, your
due for tire service.
Since 1964, we've changed your tires and so much more. Richlands Tire and Service, such a refreshing change. Richlands.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law Office. This is one call, that's all sports desk. Brewers got shut out by the Blue Jays 3-0 from American Family Field. The Brew Crew still first in the NL Central will go for the win this afternoon. Packers kicked off mandatory minicamp yesterday. Star quarterback Jordan Love hopeful a new deal is coming soon, telling reporters that's what he's heard when asked if the team was trying to work out an extension before training camp in late July. Love believes things will pick up after the practices wrap up tomorrow. Taking a look at the roads now with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. Still a little slow and go on I-43 northbound from Layton Avenue to downtown. That's about a 10-minute drive. Southbound Brown Deer Road to downtown, a little slow in the construction zone there. Also I-894 westbound, a little slow Mitchell Interchange to the Hale Interchange.
Traffic is sponsored by Hall Mazda Milwaukee. Visit hallmazdamilwaukee.com.
If you see something we should know about, call the WTMJ Hall Mazda Traffic Tip Line, 414-238-9329. Find out with Hall Mazda all summer.
Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Sunny and warm today. Chance of evening storms, a high of 85. And that chance of storms goes into the evening and overnight hours. Overnight low 70. Warm, humid, partly cloudy Thursday. Slight chance of showers, a high of 86. Sunny and cooler Friday, 75. Partly cloudy and 73 on Saturday. Then a chance of showers and storms again on Sunday. Warm and humid during the day with a high of 85. Madison's at 75. Green Bay 70. Milwaukee 76 degrees. I'm Connie Wepper. Siding Unlimited WTMJ News Time 10:08.
Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue in beautiful downtown Milwaukee. It's time for the Upswing on WTMJ, showcasing businesses, entrepreneurs, and community leaders throughout the great state of Wisconsin. Here's your host, Jeff Sherman.
'Cause I'm gonna make this place yours.
Good morning, Wisconsin. Good morning, Milwaukee. Feels like summer out there today. So today's show, we scheduled it pretty well. Kind of proud of the full team here at the Upswing and WTMJ. This show is going to fit perfectly into the beautiful summer weather that is outside today. Our guest burst upon the Milwaukee and Wisconsin music market in 2002, taking over operations at Milwaukee's historic Pabst Theater. Today, the Pabst Theater Group has 6 venues under its umbrella, but it began with CEO Gary Witt and his co-owner, COO Matt Berenger. The team has worked hard to not only develop Greater Milwaukee into a more viable music market for the club and theater tours across the country, but it's created some really cool culture and hospitality along the way. The concert business is crazy beautiful for sure. It's competitive, it's creative, and full of course, not only song and dance, but, some of those pesky fees and service charges that we all kind of roll our eyes at and put up with, but are like, all right, how do we get over this? Yet, at the heart of it all, music builds community like nothing else. And regions and cities that embrace music win. It's always been interesting to me to see the lists of the top tours and just think about the kind of the hows and whys of the concert ticket sales game. I heard this on the podcast, The Town, last week. The top 5 U.S. tours right now, they're on the road, are just finishing up. U2, obviously U2 at Las Vegas residency. Pink, Madonna, Luis Miguel, and Coldplay. Why do certain shows sell? Why don't others? Why do big acts play smaller venues and skip certain cities? And what's the data behind it all for the music fan? Why are we going to pay big bucks to see this act? And how far will we travel to see a concert? What prompts us to go to a show in the first place? We're basically about halfway through 2024. And the top 10 tours in the U.S., I saw this on Billboard.com, are at $1.5 billion in ticket sales. So with the great Milwaukee summer here, we thought it was a good time to talk concerts, music, and how both grow and expand our area. Gary Witt and Matt Berenger join us today from the Pabst Theater Group. Gary, Matt, thanks for taking time out of your day.
Thanks for having us on, Jeff.
So, quick question before we go to the first break. What did you listen to on your way into the office this morning? What's the radio other than WTMJ, of course? But, what was playing for you?
My morning listening is dominated by podcasts. Sorry to disappoint you on that.
All right.
But before I came in here, I was listening to the National, Heaven Faced.
Okay. All right. Matt, what's on your playlist?
We have one of the greatest bands in the whole world playing at the Riverside Theater tonight, so I had to put Being There by Wilco on. I was blasting that this morning, getting excited for the concert.
All right. Very good. I like those creative insights from music leaders. Always need to know new stuff to put on our playlist. So when we come back from the first break, I want to congratulate you and get insights as to the National Independent Venue Association booking its 2025 conference right here in Milwaukee, much due to the support of the Pabst Theater Group. This is The Upswing, and you're listening to WTMJ.
Be our eyes on the road. See something out there that I should know about?
I-94 eastbound. A semi just came to a screeching stop in the center lane. I think he's broken down right there.
Call me, Debbie Loziga, at the Hall Volkswagen Traffic Tip Line at 414-238-9329.
On southbound I-94, right around Drexel Avenue, there's a wreck in the left lane, and the left lane is blocked.
The drive affects you. Why not be part of it? Give me a call, 414-238-9329.
Visit family-owned Ken Michaels Furniture and our in-store design centers where you'll still find beautiful, luxurious, heirloom-quality American-made furniture. Right now, save 30 to 35% store-wide and take advantage of our complimentary design services. Whether you're moving, renovating, or updating, our designers will help your vision become a reality. Visit Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield on Capitol Drive and in Greenfield on Highway 100 to save 30 to 35% store-wide today. Sleep better and save more with mattresses from Milwaukee Mattress and Ken Michaels Furniture. Handcrafted in our Milwaukee factory, our mattresses utilize natural materials like cotton cushioning, which dissipates body heat, Joma wool quilts for warm wintry nights and cool summer evenings, and natural latex providing superior conformability and pressure relief for aching joints. Stop in today at any Ken Michaels Furniture store and save up to 50% compared to national brands.
With a local Milwaukee team, Fifth Third Bank knows what success looks like. They've been serving businesses and individuals in the area for nearly 15 years, including a long-standing commitment to the healthcare industry. From expansion to treasury management, Fifth Third offers a full suite of financial services and solutions across the healthcare spectrum to meet the complex moments you're navigating. Fifth Third Bank, National Association. Custom solutions built around your goals. Member FDIC.
Welcome back to the Upswing Summer Concert Preview today with Matt Berenger and Gary Witt from the Pabst Theater Group. First, congratulations on the National Independent Venue Association booking its 2025 convention here in Milwaukee. Gary, you were one of the founding members of NEVA. Tell us about how that came about and what we can expect next summer.
Foremost, NEVA is the National Independent Venue Association, and it was founded during the pandemic, began in April of 2020, kind of out of the need of our organizations trying to find a way just to survive by how to work together to be able to obtain the government funding that was out there at that point in time, initially the PPP loan, but it really started with conversations between just a few groups, mostly in the beginning Dana Frank from First Avenue and myself, just trying to find a way to develop these relationships and connect. And independent venues across America do great things all the time by themselves. And there never was a time when you could actually put a Dixie cup and connect them together. And once all those things were firing on all cylinders and connected together, it was a really powerful tool to use in D.C. along with our lobbying firm, Aiken Gump. So when the time came for a request for the next conference, we approached the request in the same way that we do for shows. We just did everything we could possibly do to put Milwaukee in the best light. And when the visits were here, they had great visits at venues across the city. And I think they loved what they saw. They loved the food scene, and they loved that we were trying so hard. So we'll have anywhere between 1,500 and 2,000 concert venue owners, promoters, agents, managers, ticketing companies, other things like that, all in Milwaukee during that time period. And it will be a great opportunity to showcase the city in Milwaukee. It's important that they chose Milwaukee. I think our words we used in the video were that if Neva had a baby, it would most likely look exactly like Milwaukee, because it's a city truly filled with independent venues that, given the fact that Matt and I started this thing back in 2002, it's made the concert business and the live entertainment business has made a tremendous impact in the city of Milwaukee. I think you'll find that developers will tell you that they've made decisions to build apartments or to build hotels based upon the strength of the impact of our industry in the city. And I think that I learned a long time ago from Beth Weirick that we had a bigger value than just being your best friend to get you good seats, that our business is not just the joy business that people see how much fun it is, but in actuality, we're equally as important as a winning sports team to the city of Milwaukee. So I think having Neva here is a tremendous accomplishment for the city of Milwaukee and all the independent venues.
It'd be a great way to showcase not only your venues, but the entire market. You know what also happened in 2002 at the Pabst Theater? The Shermans got engaged at the Pabst Theater during a Kev Mo show. I just, spotlighting that. That was your first year. I didn't even realize that. That
was the first.
Not a coincidence.
That was the second show that I booked. Kev Mo.
Kev Mo.
Yeah. Kev Mo. I still have the old school ticket. I think it was orchestra seats, maybe $15 or something like that. Yeah, it's some things have changed in the ticket world, but
the first show was Cassandra Wilson.
Okay,
that was the first show.
All right. So I want to talk a little bit about the state of the ticket. Obviously, we're kind of all living in a Ticketmaster world, and we're not going to speculate on this show about the breakup of Live Nation and Ticketmaster. I think that's an entire different show for another day. But from your independent venue lens, how are you working every day to kind of ensure fair and transparent ticketing processes and kind of addressing the fees and scalping and just everything that people don't like about the ticketing world?
Well, I think that it's very difficult for us because we can put tickets up for sale for a show, and I always use the example of The Smile. Tom York, Tom and Johnny from Radiohead put together a band. They toured under the name The Smile. They've now have 2 records out. They were insistent upon their tickets being priced at $75 and no higher, but the day that our tickets went up for sale, we used a ticketing company called Access. Our tickets were also on sale on Ticketmaster on their secondary site for hundreds of dollars. So fans across the country, because Ticketmaster is the Tampax of ticketing, basically they're the generic brand of ticketing. Everyone goes to Ticketmaster to look for things like that. And it does make it difficult because the secondary market is a shell game or a head fake that is encouraging people to spend much more for tickets than they would ever spend on the primary market tickets.
Yeah. So does the positioning around all-in pricing where you're seeing the first screen and it's saying upfront fees, not including tax, is that the future in terms of creating transparency?
I think there's something that's critically important to understand about that is that back in really going back to the early 80s is when the ticketing model sort of changed, and it moved from something that I think felt very simple. You have, you're going to go buy your tickets and
paper tickets.
Yeah, paper tickets, right. and the ticket you're holding is the only one that's out there. To all of these kind of different locations, and that's sort of the introduction of service fees. Ultimately, the dominant player in the field became Ticketmaster. But in addition to that, there's really hundreds of other ticketing companies. I think what's, when we talk about all-in ticketing, if we say, okay, I think that for the consumer is a great thing. Right. But I think it's also really critically important to understand that that industry has changed so significantly that every small independent business has modeled their business saying, how do we work within the system that sort of Ticketmaster set up? How did this start? And so having everybody do the U-turn, and this is something we're not necessarily even a part of. We're not a ticketing company or anything like that.
Right.
But it's a more challenging proposition, I think, than it seems on its face.
Yeah. Okay. When we come back from the break, I want to talk about the evolutionary stepladder, if you will, of the Pabst Theater Group and get your assessments of the current state of Milwaukee music and especially the growing comedy scene. This is The Upswing, and you're listening to WTMJ.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. Every year you give to your charities, you make donations, and you make a difference. But can you protect your legacy better while making that difference? Is there a more strategic way to give to charity? Join me and Annex Wealth Management's President and CEO, Dave Spano, to discuss this and more. It's our latest webinar, Tips for Smarter Charitable Giving. June 13th, sign up for this free webinar by texting WEB to the WTMJ Talk and Text line 855-616-1620. Another free webinar from our partners at Annex Wealth Management and WTMJ.
Hey, Wisconsin, Greg Matzik for Holiday Automotive in Fond du Lac, where the summer road trip sale is on. Perfect timing to gear up for the adventures ahead. Get more for your trade and say yes to enticing offers on favorites from Chevrolet, Buick, and GMC, or perhaps a GM-certified pre-owned model. Connect with Holiday to explore what's new, treat yourself to a test drive, and experience their genuine guest care and transparent, simplified buying approach. It's the stuff that delights drivers from all over the Badger State who have put their trust in Holiday and what's made them Wisconsin's #1 Buick and GMC dealer per 2023 Buick and GMC zoned sales records. As a repeat customer and a longtime fan myself, I can say with confidence you'll be in great hands with Team Holiday on your side. Find yours and discover the difference during the summer road trip sale at Holiday, Chevrolet, Buick, and GMC, Highway 41 and 23 in Fond du Lac, and online at holidaygm.com. Since 1959, it's worth the trip.
Here's to sweet summer days together with friends and family in Wisconsin. To discovering magic in every moment.
Hey, Mom, over here.
And to reconnecting through a world filled with wonder.
Wow.
Here's to supper club celebrations and dancing until the sun goes down. Here's to those who Wisconsin. Plan your summer getaway at travelwisconsin.com.
Disability Rights Wisconsin's Medicare Part D helpline is here to help disabled or elderly Medicare beneficiaries with questions about their Part D prescription benefit. The Part D helpline may be able to help you save money on your Part D premium, deductible, and copays. For free, unbiased assistance, please call the Disability Rights Wisconsin Medicare Part D helpline any time of the year at 1-800-926-4862. 1-800-926-4862.
We spend more than 1/3 of our lives working, so ask yourself, are your career needs in sync with your goals? Are you satisfied with your career? Are you feeling unmotivated? Feel like your professional life hit a snag? At the LAK Group, their career coaching services help you make career moves that align with what's important to you. They work with individuals to help achieve career satisfaction. Let them help you discover your career with purpose. The LAK Group. Find your rhythm at transformingcareers.com.
Welcome back to The Upswing. Matt Berenger and Gary Witt from the Pabst Theater Group join us today. Talk a little bit about kind of the evolutionary stepladder, if you will, of the Pabst Theater Group in terms of the venues now under your umbrella and how the business has grown through the years.
Well, this whole thing started with a national historic landmark, the Pabst Theater, going out of business or at least losing money for the city, and we took that over. The Riverside, that's 1350. The Riverside's was closed when we took it over at that's 2,400 or 2,500 tickets. And then Turner Hall is 1,000, and that was closed for decades, when we took that over. So we apparently we're like the Narcan of concert promoters or something like that. But importantly, as you've mentioned, and I think as Matt has coined it, we have this evolutionary stepladder for artists to grow in our venues. And I think that having now Vivarium in place at $450, up to Turner at $1,000, and the Paps at $1,400 or $1,350, Riverside at $2,500, and now High Life at $4,000. We have the perfect opportunity for artists to be able to start in Milwaukee, especially if they start at a place like Cactus Club or maybe Shank Hall, and then grow up through our venues, and to be able to have more artists actually visit the city. And I think to that point, one of the real reasons for that success is the growth in our business of comedy, because Milwaukee per capita, and also based upon the size of our venues, we're doing more comedy than bigger cities like Chicago do, because they don't really adequately use their venues to grow that. And I think that a lot of that credit is on the shoulders of one Matt Berenger, who really has spearheaded like making comedy a priority, because we only have we have 1.5 million people in our metro. That's just not enough to serve the 800 shows that we're going to be doing annually and everyone else does.
And is that a regional and national trend too? Is that stemming from Netflix and the comedy series that people are seeing, and then it kind of comes down to the local level because the acts want more places to play?
Well, there's certainly been an explosion in how people access comedy.
Yeah.
It used to be you'd look for the HBO special or the Comedy Central special, and prior to that, it was even like a Johnny Carson appearance. Now we're at the comics, in many cases, the performers driving their own bus with podcasts where they have a daily personal relationship with their audience. As you mentioned, multiple streaming platforms that have massive audiences. So there's kind of a democratization there in the ability to reach the audience that really has never existed. And so touring comedy especially has never been bigger.
Yeah. What about the kind of the movie talkback events? Is that something you've been creating and curating on your level, or again, is that a national and regional thing?
we were definitely early adopters on that model in terms of trying to think of a different way.
What was the first one we did?
Present it. First one we did was Bruce Campbell with Evil Dead 2.
Okay.
And since then, we've hosted everybody from Mel Brooks to Christopher Lloyd and everybody in between. But
Chevy Chase.
Yeah. And we have some exciting ones on the way. But I think it's just another way for people to view live entertainment on the stage. And it's the same thing when you think about like a live podcast. 15 years ago, podcasts as a live entity were just not a thing. People couldn't wrap their brains around what is it I'm going to see. And now that is very much in the lexicon of the entertainment
that
fan.
Ability to build engagement and create connection through stars is important. Do you work directly through the celebrities for those events, or is it the studios, or is it a combination? Just give us a little of a backstory and how those events come together.
The studios aren't really necessarily involved. They're of course paid for showing the movie, but it's really just like any other event that we do. They get booked through an agency as we do, and those shows happen and come through our venues. Look, I think a lot of this starts with the fact that Matt and I, when we started the business, we didn't build the business based upon selling tickets. We built it based on developing community, and developing community eventually long-term sells tickets. But the reality is that in order to do that, we have to serve a really wide audience because, again, that we don't have the population of Chicago, et cetera. So developing community was key to us to survive in the business.
All right. When we come back from the break, we're going to talk about the role of technology in enhancing the live music experience. WTMJ News Time is 10:30. ABC News. Local headlines are next.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. The basketball world is today saying goodbye to Hall of Famer Jerry West, who died this morning at the age of 86. ESPN host Mike Greenberg reflecting on his career.
He's in the handful of greatest players that ever touched a basketball in their lives. He then went on to a brief but successful career in coaching and then an enormous career as an executive, particularly running the Los Angeles Lakers. His acquisitions included James Worthy, Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant, hiring Phil Jackson as their coach.
Jerry West was also the inspiration for the silhouette that the NBA uses as its logo. Secretary of State Antony Blinken in Doha trying to iron out the details of a ceasefire agreement that both Israel and Hamas will agree to. President Biden is on his way to Italy for the G7 summit. The Federal Reserve wraps up its June meeting in a few hours. The Fed not expected to lower interest rates, at least not yet, even though we got a key report today showing inflation holding steady. This is ABC News.
Citing Unlimited WTMJ News Time 10:31, emergency crews responding to a medical emergency at Marquette University. Heavy police presence being reported at the Alumni Memorial Union on campus. Marquette campus police asking the public to avoid the area, but say there is currently no threat to the public. We'll keep you updated on this developing story. Wisconsin Supreme Court has suspended Attorney James Troupa's appointment to the Judicial Conduct Advisory Committee. His original term would have ended in March of 2026. The Judicial Conduct Advisory Committee gives opinions and advice on judges' compliance with the State Code of Judicial Conduct. Last week, Troupa's charged with felony forgery for his involvement in Wisconsin's fake elector scheme. A man from Lac du Flambeau sentenced to prison for domestic abuse in 3 Wisconsin counties. Wisconsin DOJ says 30-year-old Frank Sherman was found guilty on 11 counts of domestic violence against 3 different people, including strangulation, false imprisonment, and substantial battery with intent to cause bodily harm. Schumann will go to prison for nearly 16 years, followed by 11 years of extended supervision. Time for some news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Markets are still up. The Dow is up 119 points, 38,866. The Nasdaq is up 321 points, 17,665. The S&P 500 is up 62 at 5,437. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite, financial planning at every level. Details at annexwealth.com. Take a look at your roads with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. Still those delays. I-43, 94 northbound Layton Avenue to downtown. That's about a 10-minute drive this morning. 43 southbound Brown Deer Road to downtown, a construction zone. Some minor delays there. Also I-8, 94 westbound from the Mitchell Interchange to the Hale Interchange. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Sunny and warm today, maybe some evening and overnight storms. High today 85 and overnight low 70. Partly cloudy, warm, humid tomorrow. Slight chance of showers and storms, a high of 86. Sunny and cooler Friday, 75 for the high. Partly cloudy Saturday, 73. Warm, humid again on Sunday. Slight chance of showers and storms and a high Sunday of 85. Madison's at 80, Green Bay 76, and Milwaukee 80 degrees. I'm Connie Weber, Citing Unlimited WTMJ News Time 10:33.
Small business owners, we know finishing your to-do list can feel like climbing a mountain, but that mountain is also covered in banana peels. Then when something new gets added to your list, you're like, nope, I'm already climbing this huge, super slippery banana peel mountain of a to-do list. At Progressive, we don't want to make your day any harder. That's why we make it easy to manage your policy on our mobile app, so climbing that banana peel mountain feels more like a leisurely stroll. See if you can save on commercial auto insurance in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Coverage subject to policy terms and conditions.
Family Talk with Straight Talk.
You give and you give. It's time to get with Straight Talk Wireless. You get a reliable 5G network and unlimited data, and you get to choose who joins your family plan starting as low as $25 a line.
Does it have to be family?
It can be family or people you like.
Get more lines and more savings. Switch to Straight Talk for family plan starting as low as $25 a line per month for 4 lines. Find us at Walmart and StraightTalk.com. For network management practices, visit StraightTalk.com. Family plan discount with 4 lines, all on the Silver Unlimited plan. Taxes and fees apply.
This is Richard Salinas, registered nurse with Rejuvenex Arthritis Clinics, and I want to talk about exactly what we do. When you come here, you're going to get 2 shots with 2 very small needles. One will be a medication called Toradol, which is a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory, completely different from a standard steroid or cortisone injection. This medication is safe and a great pain reliever. The other will be hyaluronic acid, which is a naturally occurring fluid found in all of our joints. What hyaluronic acid does is it helps recoat the inside surfaces to provide cushioning and lubrication. It helps slow down the osteoarthritis process to a point where patients may not need surgery. All of this combined with using our state-of-the-art Ultra G machine developed by NASA has produced profound results. What we do works. And the best part about this is that insurance covers most of our patients' treatments. Go to Rejuvenex.com to request your free pain evaluation.
Welcome back to the Upswing. Gary Witt, Matt Berenger from the Pabst Theater Group join us today. I got a bunch of quick fire questions we're going to do in the last couple blocks, but I want to open up the WTMJ talk and text line 855-616-1620 and weigh in, and we'll take some of your questions at the next segment.
Yes, ask us hard questions.
The hard questions.
We
Let's
like
bring
the
them.
difficult
Concert questions, ticketing questions, all of the above.
Beverage questions.
Ooh, beverage
Bathroom
questions are
questions.
good.
We like bathrooms.
Oh, yes. Why don't you have more? Come on, the lines are too long.
You're totally wrong. We built, we know this because we spent $850,000 during the pandemic when we didn't have the money to build 22 women's stalls downstairs and 17 urinals. So if you've got to go, my friend, that's the place for you to go anytime during the week.
All right, very good. So what role do you see technology continuing to play in the live music experience? Phones, from a venue standpoint, is there a rub there from the phone standpoint?
A rub in relation to people being on their phones all the time?
Yeah. I mean, does that, as a venue owner, does that impact the way that you see the show, or is it just like, hey, this is okay?
I mean, one of the refreshing things you actually see is when you have an artist elect to use this service called Yonder.
Yeah.
That we, from time to time, it's actually, I would consider it kind of a low technology solution because it's actually more like your department store security tag, the on and off, and you get your phone put in a secure bag that you carry with you. And then if it rings, you have it on vibrate, and you just step out to the lobby and take your call there. But people are so tempted to reach into their phone and just look and whatever. And it's a real refreshing concert experience that is phone-free. Artists love it, and I think patrons at the end of the day love it too.
Yeah.
Look, I think it's also, for better or worse, it's a national addiction for people to look at their phones.
Right.
And I can cite an instance a couple of years ago where I sat in the crowd, which we don't get to do as often, behind a gentleman at a show that was a jazz vocalist piano player at the Riverside. And I sat behind this guy, and he checked his phone at least every 90 seconds in a very dark theater, lighting up the entire theater with his phone. Right. And he just constantly was playing with photos, and it can become incredibly annoying to people. But, I think we adapt to those things in a way, like as Matt mentioned, the industry kind of adapting that is really smart. I also think people do kind of get over that urge after a period of time, and they realize they've just taken 12 videos that they'll never watch again.
Exactly right. Like, let's just be here. Let's be present.
Be present.
Appreciate the music and remember it. Maybe take one picture, one small video, but that's done.
Or go enjoy our bathrooms.
Yes, that's right. Or get some food and beverage. What's new in terms of partnerships and initiatives in terms of the food and beverage space? I like the popcorn edition a whole lot. I'm a popcorn fan, and it's a great addition to the.
It is like being a dog, though. It's like my dog Maisie. As soon as I even go near the cookie jar, she starts to slobber. I can kind of see people do that when they smell the popcorn coming into the building in the same way. So, yeah, like I think we've we announced recently a new partnership with our friends at Miller that continues our partnership there. We're really respectful of working with local groups like that. Look, Miller employs 1,500 people in the city of Milwaukee. We have tremendous respect for that because those jobs are very important for the city. I don't want to shock people, but robots don't pee in beer cans. It's your neighbor that's actually making that beer, and it's really important to be able to recognize the fact that these are family-supporting jobs. We also have a great relationship with our friends at Associated Bank. Again, a Wisconsin company. We have tremendous respect for them. I think they have a lot of the same goals that we have of trying to make the surrounding community better.
Okay. When we come back, bunch of quick fire questions. I want to talk about the importance of reviews for future ticket sales, and what's a radius clause and how does that impact the amount of shows that we see in the Milwaukee
do you
market?
Want to go there?
I want to go there. Gary Witt, Matt Berenger from the Pabst Theater Group join us on the Upswing. You're listening to WTMJ.
What will medicine look like 10 years from now, 20 years from now? And who is going to lead us there? I'm Dr. Amir Ghaffari, professor of surgery and president and CEO of the Physician Enterprise at the Freighter and the Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network. New knowledge, never settling. That's what will get us there. Because as one of the few academic health systems in the nation, we push further and train the next generation of experts. Beyond our acclaimed medical care, our research keeps advancing the field, leading to breakthrough treatments and providing the foundation for the innovations of tomorrow. You have access to all of that right here. If you have heart disease, if you have a loved one dealing with cancer, if you're just trying to keep your family healthy, this level of care is invaluable. Through the Freighter and the Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network, we are pushing ahead, giving our patients and our community the best of what academic medicine can offer, today and tomorrow.
When you're due for tire service, visit richlawns.com for the location nearest you.
We'll give you a free flat tire repair on every tire we install. No questions asked. I'm Brett Matchke with Rich Lawns. You're due for service.
Rich Lawns.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
This is Chief Homebuyer Helper Brian Wickert. Most home shoppers just go with their bank when it comes to getting a pre-approval. But the little secret is that listing agents who are advising sellers on which offer to accept don't really like seeing pre-approvals from banks. They prefer fully verified pre-approvals from trusted local lenders like AccuNet Mortgage. Our closing costs are also typically $1,000 to $3,000 lower than banks for exactly the same rate. Save money and get a pre-approval listing agents love by clicking on the blue button at accunet.com.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
This is Chief Home Buying Strategist Brian Wickert. A lot of home shoppers like Jordan and Michelle just go with their bank when it comes to getting a pre-approval. It wasn't until after they wrote their 5th losing offer that they took their agent's advice and called Southeast Wisconsin's own AccuNet Mortgage for a rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval and offer strategy consultation. The result? Accept an offer on the very next try. Get started with your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval by clicking on the blue button today at accunet.com.
Celebrate Dad this Father's Day at Runnings. Everything you need for Dad is waiting for you at your local running store. Shop the incredible selection of clothing, footwear, sporting goods, hunting and fishing gear, tools, mowers, trimmers, automotive, and pet care. Save on fishing gear from Rapala, Abu Garcia, Humminbird, and Northland Tackle. Gear and accessories from Winchester, Sig Sauer, Vortex, and Real Avid. Great savings on camping gear, Cub Cadet mowers, and Milwaukee tools. Celebrate Father's Day with a trip to your local Runnings, now with 80 locations. Go to runnings.com for the store in your community.
Is your IRS tax debt making you feel anxious? The professionals at Allies Tax Relief are ready to negotiate your fresh start. Call them now at 800-230-5174.
Welcome back to the Upswing. Gary Witt, Matt Berenger from the Pabst Theater Group join us today. Gary, Matt, what is a radius clause in terms of a show, and how do they impact what we get to see in the Milwaukee market?
How do they? Well, a radius clause is a condition that is set up within the negotiation process of an artist contract. The most well-known radius clauses would be surrounding a festival, where typically the artist is making a much higher guarantee than they would in a typical rounded date. And so the festival is saying, hey, we need a radius clause of, in some cases, hundreds of miles to, over a period of time that artist would not play, so that the festival draws based on that. But
so thinking that having another show 3 months down the road, 90 miles away, would impact ticket sales of that show.
Correct. So, Lollapalooza, for instance, has a massive investment in what they're doing. Their goal is, if I have an artist there, they want to keep it somewhat exclusive.
Okay. All right. Well, speaking of Lollapalooza, Gary, I love your interaction and engagement on X and Twitter. You always have thought-provoking comments that I like to engage and share. So a couple days ago, I think it was the end of May, Lollapalooza came out with an announcement that it is doing after shows. Dozens of artists performing at local venues across Chicago. Do you think that model, it's happening on kind of a smaller level for Summerfest, but would that model work for Summerfest, and how would you encourage that?
I don't think it really matters whether it works for Summerfest or not. Summerfest, this all started when Lollapalooza got sued by the city of Chicago because they were basically absorbing up all of the concerts in the city, not only during the time of the festival, but also in the 3 months prior and the 3 months after with their radius clause. So, in theory, Summerfest exists, one of the reasons to be able to grow and develop business in the city of Milwaukee. So the fact that Summerfest closes as late as it does pretty much causes all the business that takes place in Milwaukee, other than hotels, to take place at Summerfest. So Summerfest, I believe, should act more like Lollapalooza, other than the main stage at the amphitheater. The rest of Summerfest should close at 10 o'clock, and they should host events downtown in Milwaukee. And we're not thinking about this for our venues only. Right. It should be at restaurants and bars and coffee shops where artists can appear, and it becomes a real experience for people who travel to the city of Milwaukee to then experience the rest of downtown. Because if you think of Summerfest as like a giant game board, basically the entire city tilts down towards Summerfest during that period. Restaurants close completely during those windows of time when Summerfest is here. Yeah. So I think if it was to follow the Lollapalooza model, they should, yes, close at 10, and there should be after shows there, because they're not just serving themselves or the $3.3 million salary they paid Don Smiley. Mm-hmm. They're actually serving the city of Milwaukee.
Right. Yeah, and it will, as they look at expansion on the grounds and further programming, there's definitely opportunity there for sure. In terms of driving ticket sales and getting people to shows, whether it's Summerfest or the Pabst Theater or Turner Hall, how important are reviews in getting people to act to buy tickets?
Well, I think what's important is the conversation surrounding performances overall. And with the advent of the internet and the growth of social media, it's been a positive and a negative. There have been studies that show that 48% of people get their news from social media, which is really incredibly frightening, I might add. But the reality is that you don't only rely on local media any longer, which is a positive thing, because there almost is very little existence of local media since large corporations bought most of the media that existed in smaller markets, as our newspaper has been bought and sold a number of times and now is owned by a very large conglomerate. That's one of the reasons why we've paid attention to growing our own community and developing our community. We have 500,000 people in our database and send out 62 million emails a year. You probably get all of them, Jeff.
I do, yes.
But all 62 million. But the reality is that it is really important. But I think there's a statistic that's interesting. The PR industry is a $150 billion business in America right now. But the odd thing about that is, over the years, with the large corporations buying most of the media outlets, there's a 100-to-1 ratio for PR people to journalists, which means that there just aren't enough people that are out there to write stories. Because, look at the Journal. The Journal has one writer that writes about music. If it wasn't for the Milwaukee Record and the Shepherd Express, I think we would really be lost in not having enough reviews of the important shows. Are not just the arena shows. It's also, the things that happen at the Cactus Club deserve to be reviewed.
Yeah. All right. When we come back from the break, some of the funniest and craziest things have happened at shows through the years at the Pabst Theater. I want to know how the Bill Maher show is selling. There's a big show tomorrow night, Pete Davidson, and maybe we'll talk about country shows, because that's a passion topic of mine. This is The Upswing, and you're listening to WTMJ.
Hot dog, get your hot dogs here. Hot and fresh hot dogs.
Hot diggity dog, it's baseball season. Wisconsin's Afternoon News has partnered up with Vienna Beef to bring you Brewers Ticket Tuesday.
Tune in every Tuesday during the 3 o'clock hour for your chance to win a pair of tickets for an upcoming Tuesday home game for the Milwaukee Brewers.
Nothing says summer like a hot dog and baseball, and we've got both on Wisconsin's Afternoon News.
On the home of the Brewers, WTMJ.
Hey, Wisconsin, Greg Matzik here for Holiday Mazda in Fond du Lac. Hey, go where summer leads you and drive inspired in the new Mazda car or crossover or Mazda certified pre-owned model that's right for you. As Wisconsin's #1 Mazda dealer, Holiday is the destination to gear up for your journey, get more Mazda for your money, and more for your trade, while experiencing all the stuff that makes fans out of drivers from all over the Badger State. Loyal fans like me who value Team Holiday's welcoming hospitality, simplified buying approach, and award-winning guest care. Connect with Holiday now to lock in the season's best offers, like rates as low as 0% on Mazda SUV favorites, like the invigorating and beautiful Mazda CX-5, the rugged and refined Mazda CX-50, or the 3-row, roomy and responsive Mazda CX-90. Or check out the comfortably low lease payments. Which one will inspire you? Find out with Mazda. Treat yourself to a test drive and discover the difference at Holiday Mazda in Fond du Lac and online at holidaymazda.com. Holiday Mazda. It's worth the trip.
Fleet Farm's got everything you need for everyday life.
Brands from Carhartt to Milwaukee to Purina to Goodyear to Rapala to Levi's and a whole lot more. In-store or online, check out all the brands Fleet Farm carries to help make your everyday life better.
I'm WTMJ's Sandy Max. What makes senior living at Three Pillars so special? Let's hear from Three Pillars resident Doris.
I came to visit and it just felt very comfortable. It's a large campus. There's a lot of green areas. There's lots of trails that are going through it that you can walk. You can use your walker or rolly on it. They bought a bunch of trikes and I want to try one of those three-wheelers and get it out on one of those walking paths. And for me, it's home with wonderful people.
Schedule a tour today at threepillars.org.
Here's to sweet summer days together with friends and family in Wisconsin. To discovering magic in every moment.
Come on, over here.
And to reconnecting through a world filled with wonder.
Wow.
Here's to supper club celebrations and dancing until the sun goes down. Here's to those who Wisconsin. Plan your summer getaway at travelwisconsin.com.
Feeling bullied by your bank?
It's not a hidden fee, it's a surprise fee. Surprise!
Like they're just making things harder.
That's not my department. I got a transfer.
Or like they don't even know you?
That sounds like a you problem.
At Wintrust, we take a different approach. Whether you need banking solutions, a new home, or help planning your financial future, we've got local experts ready to lend a hand.
Wintrust.
Start banking where you matter at wintrust.com/bully-free. Wintrust. Different approach, better results. Banking products provided by Wintrust Financial Corp. Inc. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Welcome back to the Upswing. Appreciate Gary Witt and Matt Berenger from the Pabst Theater Group joining us today. In terms of country, I want to know, I'm a fan, and we were talking in between the break, and I think it's a genre that if you're a fan of one artist, you're a fan of all of them, and the big country thunders and the big touring shows. How does Milwaukee get more country shows, and why are they going to one place over another?
Well, first and foremost, I think you have to congratulate Leslie and Joe at the Rave because they host a significant number of great country shows, especially younger artists and those that are kind of up and comers. But like all genres that we host in our venues, there actually are a lot of things country shows that we host that are under the radar of some of the bigger shows that are there. Matt, who do we have coming up country-wise?
Well, some of the what I would say more exciting sort of emerging artists would be people like Mae Simpson, Caitlin Butts, White Buffalo. But we're also hosting some, tried and true. We were just talking about the Dina Carter show at Vivarium coming up this month.
And to be able to see an artist like that up close and personal with 200, 300, 400 people is significant.
And look, historically, we've, one of the guys that we gave original Pabst Theater chairs to before he passed away was Merle Haggard, that we hosted the Pabst. And the same thing for Don Williams at the Riverside and Willie Nelson, the number of times at the Riverside. I could tell you some amazing weed stories about Willie at the Riverside when the microphone goes on.
In terms of how does Milwaukee attract more country shows, I think it's just like anything. It's fan participation. If there's, if the city can demonstrate that there's a desire and a demand for country here, that's just like what we talked about with comedy. I mean, Milwaukee has demonstrated a real interest in, comedy, and because, performers know that the shows will sell well here. So that's about fan support at some level.
And are the big legacy names like Pete Davidson tomorrow and Bill Maher next month, are those shows selling well?
Well, I think it's the Bill Maher is an interesting story because it's taking place around the RNC.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of activity around the RNC that isn't good at this point in time. I think if you did a poll around the city, I think you'd find that of the many promises that were made for the week of the RNC, that most of those are unfulfilled at this point in time. I think after going to New Orleans and talking to my friends in Chicago who are hosting the DNC, and I find out that the guys at 16 on Center who host the Salt Shed and Talia Hall, et cetera, they're booked every single day. We're honestly not booked any days at all for the RNC at any of our venues other than Turner Hall, which is right across But we've done a survey of the rest of the city, and the rest of the city is suffering at the same time. There really aren't that many things booked. Even the 3rd Street Market Hall right next to us isn't that booked up, which is actually kind of crazy. Yeah. So I don't think that the RNC has been the revenue driver for the city that was promised. It's unfortunate, but they seem to have a lot of issues and problems within, and it traditionally is smaller somewhat than the DNC as well.
All right. Well, your take, we've got about 30 seconds. If we can give this in 30 seconds. How does Milwaukee continue to scale up and get to the mayor's vision of 1 million population? Music's a part of it, for sure.
I think music has played a role in the last 20 years in growing the city from a city that didn't necessarily have an identity to one that has a tremendous soul and identity. Currently, it's attracting a lot of young people to come downtown. It's a bit like Richard Florida's dream, what the city has become because of that. But unfortunately, that dream has limitations. The reality is that we have to address the 48,000 jobs that we lost during the 80s when jobs were moved, manufacturing jobs were moved outside of America, and we were left with poverty, joblessness, poverty, and now we're facing violence and crime. We really have to employ people, which includes the ability to be able to possibly upgrade our transportation system to a regional transportation system so the people who live downtown who used to be gainfully employed can get to Oak Creek or Germantown or other places that actually have large manufacturing and other opportunities. I'm sure that Jim at Capco would love to be able to have access to the people in downtown Milwaukee to come work in his place.
A regional approach to growth, and part of that for sure are the venues and the music around us each and every day. Matt Berenger, Gary Witt, appreciate your time this morning. Have a great Milwaukee summer. We'll see you next time. Coming up next, Wisconsin's Midday News with Greg Matzik and Jessica Ty.
Here's to the farm and fleet dads, the ones who work hard and get the job done right, the ones who take pride in what they do and take the time to pass it on. This Father's Day, get your dad a gift he'll love.